Hi, Misha here, and it's been a little bit since I've done a Blackbox video, and I'll kind of explain why. And unfortunately, this is not going to be a happy one, but I really need to express some things, get some things off my chest, and yeah, I don't know. I'm in a position. To be fair, I'm recording this on a Monday, so there it gives you some connotation. But today I had a very bad customer experience. It was not so much my fault, but my reaction I'm not happy with. I've worked a long time to kind of keep my temper in check, and normally I have a very thick skin, but sometimes people say the right things, and this person said 3 of the right things to kind of get under my armor there and get to me. Plus, he said it before I had coffee, so that's never. Earlier in the day, I'm never at my most. It's usually when I record videos like this towards the end of the day. It just tends to be when I'm in a better mood. So I was going to explain to you what happened, what's been going on, why the recent black boxes, and yeah, I guess in advance I'm gonna thank you for listening to me, because I need to get some things off my chest and do something, because I'm not really sure. So let's start off with a little bit of news, and then we'll get into the main story. So yeah, the news. The reason there hasn't been much of a black box, we went down to Texas 2 weeks ago and picked up those Swiss guns. And I was hoping to record kind of a road trip video for this channel, but the truth is the trip went really smooth going down and whatnot. And there just was only the first kind of intro clip, so I ended up just folding it into kind of a preview video for the main Mishaco channel. And I was really tired, didn't really get much sleep that night at all, and was busy doing that stuff, working. And then the next week, the gentleman who helps me, I want to be 100% clear, he basically, I do compensate him for sure, but he does it out of the goodness of his heart. So this is not a complaint, not a reflection against him. In fact, around Christmas time, he often has to beg off work. Well, last week, he called me in advance and said, hey, I'm not going to be able to come in Tuesday through Thursday. Tuesday, Thursday. He can't come on Wednesdays because of church, and that's fine, and Fridays is Friday. So, usually he comes Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, sometimes 2, sometimes just once a week, just, depending on how much help I need. So he told me he couldn't come Tuesday, Thursday, but he could come Monday. Okay, great. That'll work. We can do what we can do. Well, I talked to him Monday, and I realized usually he calls me about 5:30. Didn't hear from him by about 6, so I called him right before 6 o'clock, and he said, I hope we don't have too much to do today, because I'm done. And where he works, Mondays can be very stressful. So long story short, he basically just had to not come Monday. If I begged him to, he would have, but I could tell it would have been a physical and emotional toll on him. It just wasn't worth it, because he's a friend, and I don't want to do that to friends. But that left me without anyone to help me this past week. Now, previously, when my wife worked her other job, one before this one, she would be home not early, but between 8 and 9 p.m. So she would have time to help me for an hour or two after work. With her new job, though, she gets home after midnight. Now, obviously, she doesn't go to bed right away, but it really is hard to do work at 1, 2, 3 a.m., even for night owls. Nevertheless, she did what she could. She helped me process a couple of guns each day, and at least get the most urgent guns out the door. Please note that, because that'll become important later on for the main story. So I was processing the guns that were bought and paid for by credit card, guys who really said they needed it by this date. For example, I had one woman buying a rifle for her husband for a birthday gift, which his birthday was like December 4 or something. Anyway, so, things like that, they take precedence, meaning that checks or people who weren't in a hurry, who were out of town, paying off layaways, that kind of stuff kind of had to be put to the back burner, because it's like triage. So we did that and got through last week, but it was pretty darn stressful. On top of that, Gunbroker no longer has the old Gunbroker interface. They removed it by clicking links quite some time ago, but up until November, you could kind of get backdoor into the listing and relisting pages, the selling pages. If you already had it bookmarked in Chrome or Internet Explorer, you could kind of do an in run around and do that, which is great because that's the system that works well with my TTS. Now they got rid of it, and the new system is terrible. Even my wife says it's insane to look at, because the main page where you do like title and description, it has a bajillion different options, different text styles and colors and font types and all the stuff that in theory seems really neat, but when you're just wanting to toss up an auction to sell a gun, a one-off gun, is really unnecessary. That makes it exceedingly confusing for me. In fact, in Internet Explorer now, I can't even use Internet Explorer because it'll freeze up, it'll crash because it's just too out of date. And Microsoft Edge is not really good for speech. Even on the main website of my speech program, they say we don't advise you, we don't recommend you use Edge. Use Chrome or Firefox. The problem there is the category selection, where you select the category, type of what you're selling, and also the make, the model, all that. The way the drop-down menus work now, I can't do it, period. And on top of that, the old style, you could put other make, other model, and then it would give you kind of a free-for-all field where you could type in a gun. And I sell a lot of unusual guns, either custom builds, boutique builds, collectibles. My point is, a lot of the guns I sell aren't on Gunbroker's drop-down list. And what drives me crazy, even when there are manufacturers on there, they have the name wrong. Like, instead of Arsenal Incorporated, Arsenal Inc., they have Arsenal Firearms. Technically, Arsenal Firearms was a different company. And instead of SG553 for that gun, they actually have SIG, S-I-G 553. That's not its name. It's close, but it's not the name. And that's why I like the manually type in field. If they didn't have it right, I could just, put other. Well, now they get rid of that. So, something that I was able to do on my own, make Gunbroker listings, I can't do anymore by myself. I have to ask help from my wife or someone else. And that wouldn't be so bad, except if you've listened to these black boxes, you know how my year has been. I can't find work. And I don't think it's personal to me. I just can't find people to work for me because there's a job shortage. And everyone that I've thought would come help me, they ended up getting snapped up, not just full-time, but 50, 60 hours a week by a different company who can offer them, full benefits and all that. No one has time anymore. And the good workers, companies are just working them to the bone, which leaves me without help. This would be difficult for anyone, but I can't fucking see. There are certain things that I cannot do, like print labels, check serial numbers. No matter how much I wish upon a star, that's not happening. But what I could do was make auctions. Now, I would have to ask someone to take pictures for me, but then once I filed the pictures and named them, I knew what they were, and I could do that. Now, because of the change at Gunbroker, that's gone. I have to ask help to do that, which means there's effectively very little to the job that I can do by myself, which means I'm in a just very pressured situation where I have hours of my day where nothing I can do, but still so much that needs doing, if that makes sense. Like, I sit here and wait. And again, I want to be 100% clear. I'm not blaming any person per se. In fact, the people that help me at least keep it from going critical. But there's not enough help. And after trying to find help for the better part of a year, I'm not sure what to do. And with recent changes to Gunbroker, now I can't list. Now they're charging sales tax. Now they're charging a compliance fee. And now, if you want to sign up to be a new member to buy, you have to submit, I think, photo ID or some other thing. So that's actually meant that this Christmas traffic is way down on Gunbroker. Like, normally this time of year, there's lots of views. I'm not even talking about purchases. I just mean views of auctions or questions sent about auctions. That's way down, which tells me that they're getting far less traffic than they did a year ago. Also, keep in mind, about a year ago, they took the Gunbroker app off the app store, which means it's more difficult to do on mobile, which is a bit of a problem because that's part of Gunbroker's new thing, is they've been trying to make their website more mobile friendly, less PC oriented, which is the whole reason I'm having problems with it in the first place, because they're not really focusing on keyboard commands, much less disability accessibility. So, long story short, yeah, I'm fucked. So work has been stressful. Actually making videos for this channel and the main channel has been very helpful to me, because it's something I can do, at least in part, my way of doing things. Either way, it helps me blow off steam, and I'm greatly appreciative to all of you who view and support and all that good stuff. I'm trying, guys. I really am trying not to get down. But I'm on the edge. I'm very brittle right now. And I try not to be. I try to be calm. I try to see the bright side of things, not to get too down in the dumps. But it's been a challenging year. And then that brings us to recent events. And the customer upsets me, but if nothing else, frankly, I just feel sorry for people like him. What really pisses me off is my own behavior. I really try not to let things bug me. So, let me explain. Going back some time, I sold an Italian 38A semi-auto carbine on Gunbroker. A person that I didn't know from Adam bought it, just a regular member, and he sent me a check. Now, before the check arrived, or right around, I think it just had arrived the day before, he emails me saying the check will bounce. According to him, his Social Security check or something like that didn't come through, or his account got hacked, or his address got goofed up. Long story short, the funds weren't there as expected. I didn't really pay attention to the reason, because the reason is, whatever. But I told him, not a problem, no problem. And sure enough, the check came back as bouncy. It's actually only the third or fourth time this has ever happened in the years I've been doing it. I told him, yeah, no problem. He said he was sending another check out. He did. I got it. This one cleared. Shipped gun. He actually even thanked me for not getting upset, and he said if that had happened to him, he would have been outraged. That should have been the first warning sign for me. Right there. Him saying outright that if someone had pulled that on him, he would have been irate. Anyway, getting that gun, which was made by Mac Arms, my friend, he asked me about doing some Sten guns. Apparently, Mark had put one up on Gunbroker, a Mark II or Mark III Sten, whatever. He also asked me, the customer, about a PPSH 41, and Mark had just happened to mention to me that he was finishing up a PPSH 41, and I said, hey, actually, he's just finishing one up. So I asked Mark what he wanted for it, and I said, do you want me to put you guys in contact, or do you want me to be the middleman? And it was decided that I'll just be the middleman, since I'm a known quantity. But I told the customer that the gun needed to be built and finished and all that good stuff. Mark actually had the gun done in about 2 weeks. Told the customer, he sent payment, yada yada. Now, I had told the customer $2,500. That was supposed to mean plus shipping, but he didn't give me any shipping. But I'm thinking, oh well, trying to be nice, I'll pay the shipping out of my own pocket. And actually, Mark originally shipped it without a stick magazine. We originally said it was going to come with the drum and the stick, and I made sure to acquire a stick magazine for it, trying to do the right thing, and just going by there. However, since he did pay with a check, and because fool me once, fool me twice thing, I was a little I gave his check plenty of time in the bank just to make sure. I didn't say anything about it. I didn't even make a point of it. And, all was going okay up till last weekend. Now, the customer had been interested in Stens. I quoted him prices just based on what Mark wanted for him. He never got back with me. And so I listed the one Mark V on Gunbroker. It just sold a couple of days ago. Fair enough. He called me last Saturday asking if it shipped yet. No, I hadn't because, situation going on. Been busy. It was the week before that was Thanksgiving, so on and so forth. And then he asked me to ship it FedEx because he claims that in his area, the mail has been running 2 weeks or more behind. Now, I can tell you I ship mail every day. Mail is not running 2 weeks or more behind, at least not for priority mail. I tried to tell him that. He wants FedEx. I said, okay, I can do FedEx, but I don't have a FedEx account. So I'll have to have someone drive me down to the local FedEx store and ship your singular gun. Keep in mind, I'm also doing shipping on my dime. Yeah. Already I'm making great. I thought we could get it done that Monday, but then Ian was exhausted. He didn't come over. That's fine. It happens. And my wife wasn't obviously shipping FedEx that week. On top of this, the customer said that he was actually out of town. So to my mind, it doesn't matter a whole lot when I ship, as long as it's there when he gets back into town, which won't be till January. Okay, so again, doing gun triage, we were trying to ship out stuff. Now, is this ideal? Heck no. Do I like it? No, it bugs the crap out of me. It's literally this kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. So, I told the guys, okay, I'll throw in an extra sling or whatever, yada yada. And that was pretty much it up until today. So I'm on the phone with a different customer, and someone rings my phone 4 different times. So I'm on the phone, like back to back to back to back to back. So I told the person I was on the phone with, I said, hey, maybe it's something important. Again, I can't see caller ID, so let me get off here and call them back. So I call back, and it's the customer. And I said, hey, you're blowing up my phone. Well, what's going on? And he goes, well, yeah, I told you just to ship mail. Not as of yesterday. Maybe you did today, and I haven't seen the email yet. And then things go sideways. Well, you've had my money, yada, 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 which is true. Agreed, granted. And I tried to explain the situation, and then I said, well, I'm blind. I can't just drive to the FedEx. I told you last weekend that it might take time to get over there. Now, I didn't think it'd take this much time, granted. But I said, I'm sorry, but I was kind of in a position where there wasn't much I could do. And I'm thinking, Meanwhile, I've already shipped this guy one gun, so he knows that I'm someone. He knows that I ship. For another thing, he's out of town, so what's the huge rush? And for a third, it's a custom-built gun. It wasn't like something I had advertised on Gunbroker. Truth is, I haven't had any time to log it in yet. In fact, we finally had time to log in the guns from JDI just this past weekend. Again, limited time. I don't like it, and I know it may sound like excuse making, but and to some extent it is, frankly. But it is also just life. So I tell him, well, he first insists that I never told him I was blind. Okay, fine. I told him now. And then he kind of bows up a bit, talking about shipping and all this and that, and, demanding that either I ship it or whatever, money back. And I said, well, be here tomorrow. We can do it tomorrow. It's not a problem. The gun is here. And so things seemed like they were okay. But he has this attitude, and I'm going to try to explain it. Now, keep in mind, at this point, he's had me on the phone for 15 minutes. He blew up my phone. I got off the phone with another customer, and it's a Monday. I admit my mood wasn't the best. Hadn't had coffee yet. Not at my A game. But I'm trying to tell him, yes, I have money. Yes, I will ship. You're out of town anyway, so what does it matter? And yes, I can ship FedEx if you want. Trying to give him what he wants. And I did apologize for not getting it out last week, which, is totally on me. That's how that goes. Blind or not, it is on me. So you would think that'd be the end of it. But then he started lecturing me about how to run business. Now, I'm not young. I'm in my 40s. He's in his 70s. And he started in on this is how he would never treat customers. He actually cares about his customers. And I said, I care about my customers too. I said, I've been doing this 15 years. I built a business out of nothing, and I've really tried. It's been kind of one of those things. And then he comes back, well, I've been doing this 50 years. Okay, fair enough, but so what? He basically, I don't know what else to put it, he kind of puts on that boomer entitlement attitude, if that makes sense. And he said, well, if you can't ship, you shouldn't be selling guns online. I wanted to say, yeah, but I want to eat. But I didn't say anything. I bit my tongue. Like, okay, whatever, dude. I'm already just mentally saying, okay, well, he's going to be on the do not sell to again list. Get this done. What have you. So be it. But it just continues. And he keeps saying, you keep making excuses and all this stuff, and how do I know this, and how do I know that? And then I did bring up the check thing. I said, remember when the check thing didn't go through, and I didn't give you grief? And I'm thinking, maybe this will show you what kind of person I am and what I do with people. And he goes, that wasn't my fault. And I said, that's kind of my point. This isn't my fault either. And then he comes back with, well, that's not how I run a business. And I said, I don't have a choice. This isn't my deciding how to run a business. This is just my situation. I said, you could come over, put a gun to my head, and say, ship the gun or else. And there's nothing I could have done about it last week, especially you wanting it shipped FedEx. I can't drive. I can't meet your thing. By the way, on my Gunbroker page and all that, it says I ship everything U.S. mail. It's in there. But I'm trying to accommodate here. And I am starting to lose my temper. Been on the phone 20, 25 minutes now. This is starting to go circular. And I'm being lectured by someone who just thinks he's, I don't know. I mean, our first interaction, he screwed up a check, and I didn't hold it against him. And then he goes, how long are you going to hold that against me? I'm not holding it against you. I didn't then. I'm trying to explain that wasn't your fault. Me not being able to ship isn't my fault. At least if it's either both our faults or it's none of our faults. And we're not talking about a gun that's a month overdue, guys. We're talking about a week overdue. Not good, but it is December. And this is when things spiral. And this is really when my blood goes up. I'm hungry, haven't had my coffee, need to eat a bite, need to get some stuff done. I'm still trying to get through emails, and I do lose my cool. I admit that. And this is where I'm upset with myself. At this point, I know what kind of person I'm dealing with, but then he just keeps on. And he actually says kind of the trifecta of things that really just does get under my skin. His next line is really out of that playbook, and it's one that almost I've heard verbatim by a very small fraction of people, but I have heard it my entire life through various situations. His next thing was, it's not my problem. Your situation is not my problem. In literal terms, it is, because obviously my situation is not just causing me an issue here, it's obviously causing him problems. But I do know what he's saying, and in relative terms, I would agree. But it's all about tone and understanding. I'm trying to be conciliatory. I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to get the gun out. And at this point, he's already moved through, well, I wouldn't run a business this way. You don't care about your customers. I care about my customers. And why are you selling guns online if you're blind? And now we're at, basically, I don't give a fuck about your situation at all. Not even on the most base human level. Give me money or give me gun. And I've already told him that I can ship tomorrow. There's no problem. The only problem we had was I needed to find a stick mag for it. But I did that like 2 weeks ago, so it's not a problem. By the way, PPSH 41 stick mags are very hard to find right now. So we're pretty much at the end of my rope. I've tried all the tactics I can, kind of moving down this ladder. And he just continues to lecture me, won't let me get off the phone. And so I told him, listen, motherfucker, gouge your fucking eyes out and then tell me how easy it is to do. Tell me how it is not your fucking problem. And I just went off. That's where I'm upset with myself. I don't normally let people do that. And I know people exist like that basically see someone in a wheelchair as an impediment for them getting around the street. They see someone with Alzheimer's as a drain on society. They don't view other people. Somehow, again, when he bounced a check, I was supposed to understand that, which I did. But when I can't ship for a week, there's essentially no apology, no understanding. He's going to just lecture this youngster, tell them what's what, even though he didn't have the foggiest fucking idea of my life. How dare he criticize my life having not walked a single step in my shoes? What gives him the motherfucking right to judge me that way? All he had to say was, please give me my money back. Or, please ship my gun right away. I would have thought with our first dealing, me showing him grace, me showing him that I shipped his first gun, I would have thought that would have bought me some understanding. Apparently not. Apparently the world in his mind, it's either his way 100% or the highway. No empathy and a great deal of entitlement from someone who's making judgments on things that he has no grasp of, frankly. And after I yelled at him, I don't even know what my heart rate was. I was done. I did hang up. Not something I do to people frequently, but I did. And then I needed to just calm the fuck down and make coffee. So yeah, calm down. I actually have another phone call from a customer. Again, it's Monday, guys. And then I have a phone call from my doctor's office. By the way, I was at the doctor's on Thursday. I needed lab work done. And it all turned out okay. But yeah, my wife ran me there on lunch. And yeah, probably could have shipped his gun that Thursday if I'd been thinking about it, but I did have other things in my mind. Again, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I forget things, and I think in the back of my mind, since he was not even in town, and I thought we had established a rapport, there wasn't that big of a rush. Since it wasn't even an advertised gun I had. Okay, fine. That was my mistake. I'll own that. That's fine. But we just didn't have time Wednesday night to do the gun. My wife had time to do X number of guns, and it's what it is. I don't know. I wish there was a better way. Anyway, so doctor's office called me to get a post-visit eval. You know, when you press the buttons, like, how would you rate your thing? And I really like my doctor, so I wanted to give her the eval, because I know that kind of stuff matters in this day and time. So while I'm doing that, the guy calls me back. Now, he has every right to get mad at me. He does. I use language. I mean, I didn't attack his parents or anything that egregious, but yeah, I did. And I'm not proud of that. I really am not. I very rarely lose it with customers. It may be a once in a year or two event, it irritates me for months afterwards, because at that point, I don't care about this person. He obviously doesn't care about me, so I'm not going to care about him. But there's still a certain professional level, and I try not to let it do. But he does call me back, and he probably thinks I'm ignoring his calls. Joke's on him. I can't see caller ID, so if I'd been free, I would have actually picked the phone up. But he leaves me a very interesting voicemail, and it actually, in some ways, broke the tension on my end. I'm going to try to insert it here in the video, like put it up to the thing. If I can, I'll do that. If not, I'll give you a blow by blow and insert it here. Then I'll come back.
Hey, you fucking asshole. Let you know one thing. I'll be contacting the Attorney General, also ATF, into your fucking dealings. I better see that fucking refund back in my mailbox by the time I get back. Or you're going to get a little visit from your local authority. Don't think it's my first fucking rodeo to ask wife. So you better take care of the shit, or the hammer's going to come down on your stupid ass. Okay, later, dillweed.
So yeah, that's the voicemail. Again, he has every right to be mad at me. But being called a dillweed, that actually made me laugh, which was good. It actually got my blood pressure down quite a bit. That and the coffee. His threats to call the Attorney General or the ATF have absolutely nothing to do with anything. He would have been, if he wanted to actually do any kind of threatening to me, he could have claimed to call my credit card company, my merchant service, but since he paid with a check, they wouldn't care. He could threaten to call Gunbroker, but since he didn't buy the gun on Gunbroker, they wouldn't care. The truth is, if you write someone a check like this, you pretty much have to go to court to to get your money back. Yeah, that's about all there is to it, because it's right at that amount. Of course, I have no intention of stiffing him. I'll ask my wife as soon as she's home to write him a check, and that'll be that. Heck, he could have asked a week ago. I was only doing this gun to try to be nice because a friend was building one. This person wanted one, and I was making like $200. For all this rigmarole and stress, I would have made $200. Oh, except for the shipping, which, yeah, so more like 150, because he wanted me to ship it FedEx, and I'm sure he would have wanted FedEx Express or Air. So yeah, I was trying to make money, but I was also just trying to be nice in the sense that he already bought a gun from me at retail price. I was trying to hook him up. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a saint, but I thought, yeah, it should work out fine for everyone. Shoulda, coulda, right? Shoulda, coulda. I don't know. About the time I think no one can get to me, I think it's just a convergence of everything. The gun broker situation, all these guns that just came in that I feel like I can't get through in time. I'm worried about the future. I miss my dad. I miss friends. I don't know what I'm going to do going forward. As I've said in other videos, I'm not eligible for disability payments. I'm not eligible for any of that stuff. And more importantly, if I don't work, what would I do with my days? I can't not do things. But it's getting... I feel like I'm in a vice, and every so often, someone just turns the handle one little bit, and then I feel squeezed, then I adjust to the new pressure, and then they just do it again, and I keep getting squeezed and squeezed. I just don't know. I just don't know. And I have to be absolutely clear. I'm not blaming my friends or family. Everyone has their own lives. One of my best friends that used to help me out here, he bought a new house, and so he's been working on the new house. And I get that's a time. Plus now, instead of living 10 minutes away, now he lives 40, 50 minutes away. Still in the same area, but up the highway a good bit. And Ian's saying, at least first he said he was for sure, but he's thinking about going back to school in January. I don't know if that's for sure happening or not. If he goes back to school, that's it. I've lost my last reliable full-time helper. And I tried to do the right thing. When he asked me if I thought if he should go back to school, I could have been selfish and done what would have worked well for me and said, no, don't do that. Just said, oh, you shouldn't do it. But I told him, you should do it. If you want to go back, I say, if you go and you succeed, awesome. If you go and you fail, but you gave it a try. But if you never go, you'll never know. Even though that would work out bad for me. And again, I don't want to fucking pat on the back. I did that, I said that because it's the right fucking thing to do as a human being. I don't want to be selfish. The same thing with my wife taking this job. It's a good job. I knew her working late, nights would not be great for me. But it was the right thing to do. And as it turned out, it was really the right thing to do because the company she worked for, turns out they kind of went out of business. Well, not out of business, but they moved out of this region. So if she'd tried to stay at the old job, she would have been without work or something by now. So even though we didn't know that 6 months ago when we started this whole thing, worked out right. So I don't regret, and I do that all over again. Because unlike the customer, I know I'm not the center of the world. I don't want everything to bow to me. I feel guilty when people go out of their way too much to accommodate me. I really want to be independent. I want to do as much on my own as I can. And I feel bad for asking for help. But the truth is, I have to ask for help. This is how I was born. This is the world I was born into. I didn't choose this. I didn't choose this world. I didn't choose to be blind. What the fuck am I supposed to do? I have to work, or I won't have money. Same thing as you. And I need the mental interaction. I really do. I need to talk with people. I like doing it. I love it when someone gets a gun off of me and they tell me it's something they've been looking for forever. Or they get it and they say they love it. That makes me happy. Despite what Mr. Dealweed says, I sincerely do care about my customers. And I sincerely do care about you guys on here and the guys on Patreon. It means the world to me. It really does. I am so terribly far from perfect. I really am. Sometimes I'm impetuous. Sometimes I do get upset. Sometimes maybe I come across as even lazy. I try to be more. I try to be better. Here's an example of a customer, another story, a little shorter one, where things go the other direction. He purchased a SIG 751 off of me. Mind you, like twice, 3 times the value of Mr. Dealweed's gun. Well, his check got lost in the mail. It happens. I thought he was a non-paying bidder. Finally, he did send a second check, and it came, but at that point, it'd been a month. And I told him, I think I don't have any more of that gun left. He had purchased the 16-inch barrel version of the 751. I said, look, I've got brand new 20 inches left. Or I've got the one 16-inch gun that we shot briefly in a video and that we loaned to Rob Ski. Your choice. Or I can just refund you. However, no harm, no foul. I reminded him that he actually paid outside of the 2-week window on Gunbroker, but no harm, no foul. Not going to file a report. We're cool. So money back, either gun, new 20, or used lightly 16. He decided to go with the used lightly 16, and I told him, okay, I'll hook you up. I'll send you something extra, maybe stock or mags. I think originally I offered mags, and he said he really didn't need them. And I said, well, I think I've got a spare black adjustable stock I can spare. I said, look, the traditional stocks are just, they're going for $5 on Gunbroker, and my wife would kill me if I gave away a $500-ish thing. You know, there's generosity, and then there's that. And I thought I had a couple of adjustables here. Turns out they were all OD green. Yeah, I'm not really good at determining colors. No problem. Dave had some on order from Switzerland. So I told this customer, I said, hey, good news, the stocks all came in from Switzerland. I'll be going down. I'll pick them up. Went down there, picked up the solid, fixed folding stocks. No problem. And Dave, the invoice was showing adjustables, green and black. Because he was even asking me how many I wanted, and then he was opening up boxes to find them. And we sat there, and he looked for about 20, 30 minutes. Eventually, I said, we need to kind of hit the road. If you find them, no big deal. Well, it turns out they forgot to ship the stocks in Switzerland. They're sitting over there in the warehouse in Newhausen. Yay. So now I get to tell this customer, poor guy, that me telling him the stocks were here was apparently bullshit. And he said, no problem, I just want to wrap this up. You've been great. Which, honestly, I think I could have been better. But anyway, I'll just take a couple of extra mags. And I was going to give him 3 or 4 mags. Well, as it turns out, I only had 2 308 mags left because they'd been selling. So I said, well, I've got these. And he goes, oh, that's fine. That's fine. I'll take those. That didn't sit well with me. And so I said, well, let me see if I can find something else, throw in there as a care package. And there was just nothing else, especially for 7.56 5 ones. There's just not a ton of accessories for them. And I just told him, he said, that's fine. That's fine. Just the 2 mags and we're great. And that didn't sit well with me. And so I eventually had a decent sale weekend, and I said, would you prefer the adjustable folding stock or the fixed folding stock? And he goes, well, the fixed has more of a traditional look, but I'm fine with either. I said, you know what, I'll just give you one of the fixed stocks. You've been really patient, really cool. You know, no harm, no foul. Your first check getting lost wasn't your fault. You obviously made it right. And I did ship you a lightly used, or at least demo. I usually phrase those as demo guns instead of a brand spanking new one. So, Merry Christmas, basically. Here, I'll deal with my wife and explain why we have to write off several $100s. But it was the right thing to do, and he'd been so calm and cool about it. And it was his first Swiss gun. He was a family guy, and he was just so easy to work with. And as it turns out, he ended up buying, retail, the 2 extra mags off him anyway. So I did make a little money back by selling him the mags. And as far as I know, we're good. In fact, we just talked today, and he said it had been great to deal with. And and that's how I like things to go down. My point is, I do make mistakes. I do sometimes ship the wrong thing. Sometimes I am a little slow in shipping. But when that happens, I try to compensate when and where possible. Extra stuff, or kind of a discount on the next gun, or something. Because it's just the right thing to do. I don't know how else to say it. It's just the right way to treat people both ways. And so that's how I was hoping this other deal would go. He'd say, well, I'm disappointed you haven't shipped it yet, but I'm out of town anyway, so no harm. And I was actually prepared to give him maybe a free drum, PPSH 41 drum. Those are like $150. So basically I'd be making no money. But that would have seemed to me to be decent. But instead I get lectured by a 70-some-odd-year-old boomer who talks like he's drunk all the time. Sorry, I'm sure he had like a stroke or something, but the first time he talked to me on the phone, I thought, has this guy been on the bottle? And just the way he kind of manipulates time in his favor, like shipping a check and then 2 days later calling to see if it's here and getting amazed that it's not here when he shipped it first class mail. Things like that. I'm sure you know those kinds of people, and that's apparently what he is things always get skewed in his favor. And something tells me that's been his life. Has been able to dominate and manipulate people and get what he wants. I guess what I'm saying is, he's a Karen.
Again, I forgot. I was interested in the standard dues. If you can, give me a call. I'm limited on my internet. I'm here in Tennessee. All right. Give me a call. Bye.
So yeah, that was my Monday. Appreciate you kind of being with me here and letting me get some things off my chest. I'll keep on going. Don't worry about me as far as that term. I'm too ornery, but I feel like I'm putting in 100% and really trying to do as much. And I have to be honest, most of you are great. Most of people understand. I don't want sympathy. I just want a bit of understanding. That's all I want. I don't want to be excused. I want to be held to the same standard as everyone else. I don't want disability equals crutch. But when I tell someone, I'm sorry I wasn't able to ship last week, this is why I didn't have a ride to the FedEx, just a bit of understanding of, well, okay, but we need to get this done. Fair enough. Fair enough. And I think that's what most people with disabilities want, is not sympathy or to be coddled. Just people to kind of try and put themselves in their shoes. Not to patronize them, not to do everything for them. Nothing makes me happier than being able to do something for myself without asking for help. That's why this channel has been great for me. I mean, I've never had anyone help me on this channel, and probably sometimes it shows, especially with like thumbnails. Yeah. So I guess that's about it. I can't think of anything else. I'm just tired, and I'm upset with myself. It was my fault for letting someone like that get to me. But he said the trifecta of things that just, oh, why are you working? And just, basically, I don't care. Absolutely, I just do not care. Not my problem. And I wouldn't do things this way. How do you know, dude? How do you know? Have you ever been blind or deaf or in a wheelchair? It's easy to do things normal when you have a normal life. But still, I've met people like him, thankfully, pretty infrequently, but trust me, they do exist, and like I said, they almost always use the same exact phrases and words. And they are out there. So, once in a while, I'll meet one. I've had some stories in my life. I had many that didn't see why I should be in university. Many that didn't understand why I would be anything to do with guns. I think they think people with disabilities, mental or physical, should just sit in a dark closet and just sit there rocking back and forth. Like we don't have hopes and desires and sex drives and hunger and ambition. We're just people. You can't just sit there and stay out of your way. If anything, you're the ones shitting this world up. And that's why I lost my temper. It was clear what kind of a human being this thing is. But I shouldn't have let him get to me. But I'd love to hear him actually try to call the Attorney General or the ATF about this. That would almost be worth it to be a fly on the wall. Oh well. Fluster and Buster. Nothing to learn from people like that. They're just petulant children. You can tell that he's just that type. Oh well. Still not the worst I've ever had. The worst I ever had was the guy who told me that my parents probably wished they'd had an abortion with me. And that was because I wouldn't ship him a gun before he paid me. Yeah, that guy wanted me to pay... he wanted me to ship the gun before he paid a cent. The gun go to his FFL. He would inspect it. Mind you, it was a brand new IWI gun. And if he deigned to accept it, he would leave a check with his FFL for the FFL to send to me. Yeah, there are so many things wrong with that. And when I said to him, that's not how that works. And then he was asking me about full autos, and he kept insisting that, oh no, for $900 you can get a full auto Uzi. No, not a legal one. And would you like to guess his age bracket? If you guessed boomer, you would be right, sir. There's something about some people in that age group. I don't know, and I say this from the perspective of a late generation Xer. And there's definitely entitlement in every generation, but there's a certain style of entitlement that comes with the elderly, where they can either just be the sweetest people on the planet, patient and understanding, or they just are just nasty. I don't know how else to put it. They're just nasty, miserable human beings. But luckily, most of them are pretty nice people. Even the ones in my family. Nah, guys, I appreciate you listening to me. Sorry again there hasn't been a black box. I've just had a lot on my plate. And I'll get through it. Things will get better after the holidays. I just don't know sometimes, you know. But I'll be fine. I really will. Hope everyone else is having a better week. hope everyone's doing good. And again, if I haven't shipped your order yet, feel free to call me. You can even call me a dillweed, because apparently that makes me chuckle. And I'm doing my best to keep up with things as much as possible, and things will get better. And I'll find help. There has to be someone out there who's willing to pitch in here and again, and what have you. It's just, right now I'm just at one of those low points. I bet a lot of you know what I mean. This is Misha. Catch you very soon. Next time.
Asshole. Let you know one thing. I'll be contacting the Attorney General, also ATF, into your fucking dealings. I better see that fucking refund back in my mailbox by the time I get back. Or you're going to get a little visit from your local authority. Don't think it's my first fucking rodeo to ask wife. So you better take care of this shit, or the hammer is going to come down on your stupid ass. Okay, later, deal weed.